Hey Solos, what is the best thing to do at the Walt Disney Resort property in Orlando, Florida when you are going solo? Well, solo spoiler, that actually depends on you. Just whatever you want. But in this episode, I'm going to talk about some of the things that are my favorite things to do solo as a way to kind of inspire you to think about your own upcoming trips. And I cannot wait to share them with you. Hi everyone, it's Samantha. Olaf may not know who Samantha is, but now you do, and welcome to Disney Solo Magic, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World. In this episode, as you can hear, I'm a little sick, so hopefully you can hear through my voice. In this episode, I just wanted to have an episode where you didn't have to think too hard. You don't need to take any notes. I know this is the US election day, and I can imagine that your media feed, just like my media feed, is just like overrun with different political commentary. And so I wanted something that would be like a wonderful little break in all of that hubbub. So I wanted to create an episode that really inspired you to like have some sort of sensory imagination towards Walt Disney World by talking about my favorite things. And maybe you can kind of recall some of your own favorite things, some of the things that you want to see and smell and touch and taste. And that is what this episode is about. And I do just want to say that even though this is not a political episode, I'm not going to talk about politics. I do just want to say that I do think that it is very important that we are politically involved and that we do care about our communities in political ways, and that it is important to be informed and to be involved and all of that stuff. And so I don't want an episode where I'm not talking about politics make it seem like I don't care about political things, because I very much do. But one of the most radical things that you can do is to ensure that you're taking care of yourself while you are worrying about other elements in your country or in the world generally. And so this episode and this podcast is really about taking care of yourself, healing yourself, really focusing on your own solo magic. And that is what I want to highlight with this episode. You can follow me on Instagram. That is the best way to get in touch with me. I love getting your DMs that are like, hey, I like your podcast. And I have this very specific question about my own solo trip. Can you help me answer it? Because, I love answering those questions. So feel free to get in touch with me on Instagram. Like I said, it's the best way, but I'm also on Threads and Facebook, so you can follow me on there. You can listen to this on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube, but make sure you subscribe and rate and review on all of those different places. And please share the Instagram account, please share the Facebook account, and please share this podcast to others. It really helps as I'm looking at the end of the year to be able to decide what a second season might look like, if there is going to be a second season, and that really depends on the community that is building and creating and enjoying the podcast. So again, please share. I have a cat next to me who is looking for attention, so we'll see if or in what ways she makes her presence known on this episode. Again, sorry about my raspy voice, but let's get into it. All right. So, as I said in different episodes, oh gosh, my voice. As I said in different episodes leading up to this one, I had a different idea for this particular episode. And when I realized it was the US election, I was like, oh gosh, I just want to be able to provide you with something that's like bouncy and fun and sensory and a real nice break from the rest of your social media landscape. I didn't expect raspy, but you're going to get that as well. Although my cat is very bouncy right now. So there you go. So as I was sick this weekend and laying in bed, I was just thinking about like, what are my favorite moments? What are my favorite memories? What are my favorite things to do at Walt Disney World? And what I realized is that my favorite solo trips are a really great blend of like classics, adult things, where you get to like dress up or experience something a little different, and surprising things. And I was like, okay, I could create a whole episode on those like 3 categories, but I don't want you to have to take notes in this episode. You might already have enough, like I said, in your social media landscape. So instead, I just started thinking about like some of my favorite memories, my sensory memories, and that's what I want to share with you. I came up with 10 of my favorite kind of sensory things to do. And so what I'm hoping is that you'll be able to join me in thinking about the sounds, the taste, the smells, the touches. Did I get them all? I think I got all the, I feel like I'm missing one. Taste, taste, sound, touch, seeing, sights. That's the So you can also have those sensory experiences along with me as I kind of recall those memories. I was going to put them in order, but I don't know. I don't necessarily think rankings, things like this, things that are like private and special to you, are necessarily the best ways to honor them. So I'm going to do them in the order that I came up with them, but the order I thought of them was not necessarily the order that I think of them most strongly. So let's start with number 1. One of my favorite things to do, especially solo at Walt Disney World, is that walk between Magic Kingdom and Grand Floridian. And that seems like such a weird one to start with, but hear me out. There's this beautiful walkway that opened in 2020, and it goes, like I said, from Magic Kingdom to Grand Floridian and back. And actually, before 2020, before the construction of the new Polynesian Resort, there was also a walkway that you could go from Grand Floridian to Polynesian. It probably will come back once the new hotel is done, but that was also quite a nice little walk. But the walk from Magic Kingdom to Grand Floridian is extra special because, oh my gosh, I just feel like you are so surrounded in nature. There's something about these long trees. I don't know the official name, but think of those with those trees with me. I want to say they're like weeping willows, but I don't think they are actually weeping willows. Like, think of those trees and like the wind going through them. And you know that you have just left all of the magic and chaos and commotion of Magic Kingdom, and you're going to Grand Floridian, or maybe you're going to get something to eat, and you can just like hear the wind through these trees. You can hear the monorail right above you, and sometimes you can hear things like frogs and other little, swamp-like animals in that area. And it really feels like you are in the middle of nowhere. It really, like, I've done this walk in the middle of the night. I've done this walk during the day, and it always feels so secluded to me. It always feels like I'm in this little private nature preserve in Florida. And it just is so crazy to think of it as private, considering I can see things all around me. But that walk in particular is just so serene and so beautiful. And also it is so safe. And that is, I don't know, I mean, maybe other women or femme people can really relate to this, but there are very few opportunities where you are walking in night surrounded by nature and you feel to yourself, oh, I'm completely safe here. But to know that you are completely safe there, that there are a ton of cameras and other security features that you don't see and that you are very well protected is just such a wonderful feeling. And then knowing you're going to get to this beautiful hotel, the Grand Floridian, where you'll be able to eat something good. There'll be a bathroom that's clean. And, one time, actually not just one time, a couple times, I have fallen asleep on the beach of the Grand Floridian. There is just something so serene about that little property. And that was the number one memory when I was thinking of kind of serene experiences, my favorite things when I go solo. It is that walk from Magic Kingdom to Grand Floridian, because it really is a slice of nature in a very manicured way. It's just gorgeous. So if you haven't done that walk, definitely check it out. I would say it's about a half a mile, and sure, you can take the boat, which is also my favorite things, and do the monorail, which is actually not one of my favorite things. It always smells like manure in there, but there's something really special about the walk, especially, like I said, at night, so go check it out. Okay, the second favorite thing that I love to do solo is to find a surprising food at one of the food festivals at Epcot. Whether that surprise is in how it tastes or whether that surprise is in how it looks, there is something about, or the surprise is in the cost, a good surprise when it's inexpensive. There is something about getting this little plate of food at Epcot where you can just eat over a garbage can where you could taste some like delicious chocolate, or try bone marrow, which is something I've talked about a lot on this podcast, or have a deconstructed lemon meringue pie, or mac and cheese with like nacho seasoning and toppings on top. There is something about this thrill of being able to find something new and interesting and being able to savor it and enjoy it while you are surrounded at Epcot, while you are surrounded at this beautiful world with all these different world pavilions and all these different people just kind of enjoying the atmosphere of the food and the drinks of these food festivals. Being able to try something new and getting a surprise, like just being so surprised with how tasty something is, or how unique something is, or how artful something is just such a wonderful way to be able to enjoy the food festival. And I've gone to quite a lot of Epcot festivals over the last few years, if I do say so myself. And so, like the first time of going and being surprised by all these different foods was just so thrilling. So that when I go now and I do see things on the menu that I've had before, being able to find something that I can replicate that awesome experience of trying the foods for the very first time at the first festival I went to in February 2020 is just so wonderful. And knowing that you can try these foods as a solo with a limited risk because the portion sizes are not that big makes it so much more exciting to be able to try these different things in the food festivals because the risk is so low. So that's another one of my favorite things, trying new foods at the food festivals. All right, the third of my favorite things is the trifecta of Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Jungle Cruise with no waits. Like being able to do those 3 rides back to back without any lines is my favorite thing ever. And I've been able to do it solo quite a few times with the former Genie Plus program. Like I would stack all of my lightning lanes for the evening, and then I would just go to Magic Kingdom and be able to do those 3 rides back to back to back. And then I would hop on to Aladdin's Magic Carpets during the fireworks and be able to watch the fireworks from there. And then sometimes I would get back on the Jungle Cruise because their lines are like dead during the fireworks. And it was just, every time I have done it, it has been so magical because I love those rides so much and they are such a core part of my Magic Kingdom experiences, but I don't ever want to wait for them. For me, that draws me away from the magic, even though I do love the lines, like the queue design for all of them. But being able to do those 3 rides without any lines is just one of my favorite things. And whenever I bring up these memories, I am always thinking of these memories when it is at night and the ground has that water on it because they spray the concrete down, so if there was any kind of issues with the fireworks it would dissipate very quickly. And being able to walk being able to just walk around, to be able to feel no stress because I know I'm going to get onto my ride without having to wait, to be able just to enjoy the cool Florida air, but I'm still in my short sleeves or tank top or whatever, is just such a wonderful experience. And now I think that I'll probably add Tiana's Bayou Adventure to that little trifecta of rides. What's the 4 version of trifecta? Please let me know if you know. But I've ridden Tiana's during the day and at night, and there's something special about it both times. And so I would definitely want to try to do all 4 of those rides at night. But oh gosh, yeah, just walking around at night when it's not that busy and the ground is wet and you're hearing the music, and gosh, it's just so wonderful. And again, walking on with no lines, just chef's kiss of my experiences when I'm going solo. And it's so much easier to do those things when you're solo, at least for me, because I'm not walking with somebody else, I'm not negotiating with them, I'm just being able to do my own thing. It's wonderful. All right, number 4. This shouldn't come to a surprise to anybody who has listened to a lot of the different episodes of this podcast, but one of my favorite things to do when I am at Walt Disney World Resort is to float in an empty pool. To float in an empty pool at one of the moderate resorts, one of the quiet pools that are in these immersive environments where you feel like you're in the bayou or you feel like you're in the Caribbean. I guess not really. The Caribbean one isn't really great with that. Or you feel like you're a part of New Mexico. Like all of those quiet pools and just floating in them in the Florida sunshine is just, again, one of my favorite experiences. When I go during the winter, because I am in a climate where we do get winters, knowing that I can just float in a pool by myself in February is gets me through a lot of meetings in January and February. And, I just don't think that that's an experience that you can really do when you're with other people. I don't know, maybe you can depending on who you go with, but I don't know, just doing that on your own is just so relaxing. And again, because it is a safe environment, being able just to feel the water around you. Sometimes there's a kid that you can hear, and that's kind of a nice touch as well. I'll often put on my phone some music that aligns with the area that I'm in. So when I've done this at Riverside, for example, I'll put on some New Orleans jazz. When I've done this at Coronado, there's a Coronado soundtrack that I just will put on when I'm floating in this pool. When I'm in the Caribbean beach resort, I'll often listen to Kiss the Girl just over and over and over again. But yeah, it's just so wonderful. And one of the pools that I really, really love is the pool that is at the Caribbean Beach Resort that's the closest to the Riviera Hotel. Because after I do my floating, I'll go up to the Riviera Resort. I'll walk over there. I'll get a nice espresso drink, maybe a pastry. Maybe I'll even get one of those nice caprese sandwiches, because the food at the Riviera is always delicious. And then either I'll eat it there or I'll go back to my Caribbean beach pool and just float there. It's just so wonderful. Do not skip out on enjoying the pools when you are at Walt Disney World. Even when you're there solo and you might feel the pressure to do all the things, but let that be one of those things. Let that be one of those things that just consolidates your experiences together. And I know also when I'm in the pool, sometimes I'll stretch out my calves and things like that to prepare myself for the next day. So there you go. Okay, I think we're at number 5. So one of my favorite things is it's like a 2-step thing, but I think of it all together, even though there's a break in between. Maybe you'll understand when I explain it to you. But it is coming up to the gates when you are going to Magic Kingdom. The first part is getting off the buses and you're about to go through security, which, is not that exciting at all, but you're about to start. You know what I mean? And then you have that little bit of a break. And then when you go under that bridge and you see Main Street the first time, it is all those sounds, it is all those smells, it's all those sensations that you are there. Oh my God, solos, just sit with that for a second. Sit with that feeling of just walking into Magic Kingdom and thinking to yourself, I am here. Finally, I am here. It's just every single time. It is so exciting. I would never think that entering a security line would be exciting, but that security line coming off the buses to Magic Kingdom, I'm always just hey, I'm here. Are you excited? I'm here. And sometimes the security guards will say yes because I forced them to. So there you go. I think we're on number 6. So number 6 is an Animal Kingdom one, and it is walking through different areas of foliage at Animal Kingdom. Not one place in specific, but when you're walking to Animal Kingdom and you're going through all of that, again, it's just like a canopy. It's you're in a rainforest, because I always think of that as a very wet area, and you're hearing all the different noises of the different animals, which is piped in. By the way, I learned that recording an episode for this podcast, actually, that is just so special. But it's also really special when you're sitting in Asia or you're sitting in Africa and you are just, again, surrounded by these beautiful trees, this beautiful landscape that you are now part of. It is so wonderful and so calming. I don't spend a lot of time in Pandora, but when I do walk through there on the way to Nomad Lounge, I can guess that you would also get those experiences there too. And I think with the new like Americas area that's going to replace Dino Land, that's going to be a huge hallmark as well. Like the foliage. That's one of the reasons why I was always so turned off by Dino Land, because it was so concrete. And you can be in like a jungle not that far away. There's this place right outside Expedition Everest where you are like sitting in that area, like the bandstand area where you can watch the water when they've had different shows. And there's just like these special little kind of like hideaway places that just has all of this beautiful, like I said, foliage. And it's the smells and it's the sounds. And even though apparently Animal Kingdom is the hottest of the four parks, because that all of that foliage creates the effect of a rainforest, I actually find it the coolest of all four parks, because I feel like I am surrounded by, like, again, a rainforest. I want to sing Fern Gully right now. I don't know. I'm sure you all know it. Not maybe all of you, but like, life is a magic thing. Anyway, life is a magic thing. That's not a Disney movie, but I definitely feel Fern Gully vibes when I'm in Animal Kingdom, and that's one of my favorite things. I think I've lost count. I think I'm at 7. So walking down Sunset Boulevard and listening to the music is also one of my favorite things. Now, if you've listened to this podcast, you know that Hollywood Studios is not my favorite of the four parks. And it's not because of the Sunset Boulevard stuff. That's my favorite. It's all of the rest of the stuff I don't feel a personal connection to. But Sunset Boulevard, for me, I mean, one of the episodes I did, I think it was 4 parks one day. I was like, don't mind me. I'm just like listening to one of the songs that my grandmother used to sing and like crying in the corner, as one does on Hollywood Boulevard. So I like think of my grandparents because they would dance to that music all the time. But I also think about being at MGM Studios in 1992, in 1993, and feeling like a real connection to that time period for a lot of other things that were happening in my life at that time. And like the amount of detail that's gone into Sunset Boulevard, and just like how beautiful and how perfect it is, like how it does represent the Hollywood that never was and always will be. And that is just such a special experience. And I wish it could be longer and bigger. Ooh. I wish that experience at Sunset Boulevard would be more of my experience at Hollywood Studios, because I love it so much. And I always have that pang of regret once you're kind of exiting Sunset Boulevard and you're in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater and you know that the landscape is changing now to the different areas, to Toy Story Land, to Star Wars Land, soon Monsters Land, to all those different areas that, again, I don't feel as much of a connection with. And so there's something about the nostalgia of Sunset Boulevard, and especially walking towards Hollywood Tower of Terror, one of my favorite rides. And it's because of the detail that they have in there that is, again, based in this nostalgia, based in these stories. So love that. Love it. All right. Number 8. Now, I might be telling on myself a little bit with this one about how much I enjoy shopping. But one of my favorite things is finding cool, unique merchandise. And actually, I think of this experience a lot, like where the Italy Pavilion is at Epcot. And right outside the Italy Pavilion, too, because there was a Basin kiosk there, like Basin, the bath store, and I found this Orange Bird lip balm that I've only ever seen once, and that was such a great unique find. And I guess it's not close to Italy, but we're kind of close to Italy. In the America Pavilion, there's the Dapper Day Pavilion, and I've also found some really cool things there. And I've just found like amazing things at the Italy Pavilion, and I'm always like looking for things to send to my in-laws who actually live in Italy that I think would actually like not find things corny. But I just love finding unique merchandise. It's always such a it's always such a thrill. The thrill of the find. And I mean, I do love finding unique merchandise at Disney Springs too, but there's something about going to the Italy Pavilion and being like, is there anything new that I can buy? And when you go solo, you don't need to rationalize your purchases to anybody. You can just come home and be like, ooh, look what I found. And look what I found. And look what I found. And look what I found. Oh, look at this other thing I found. But yeah, being able to shop and not have to rationalize your purchases and like enjoy browsing. Enjoy just browsing and looking for things at your own speed, on your own time, for yourself, and not, gosh, you know those conversations you have with people when you go shopping with them and you're like, oh, do you think so-and-so would like this? I don't know. Do you? I don't know. Do you? And you go back and forth. This way you can just be like, oh, I know so-and-so will like this. I hope. This will be their Christmas present, even though it's not going to be a Christmas for another 6 months or whatever. So anyway, finding unique shopping things is one of my favorites too. Are we at number 10? I feel like I've missed one. Let me count them again. 1 second. No, I don't think we're at number 10 yet. I think I have one more, which is good because I have one more. That's also an Epcot one. And this one is really specific. It is walking over the bridge from England to France in the World Showcase, especially when it is dusk and the lighting there, being able to like see the landscape of France, to be able to see the Eiffel Tower there, to be able to just see like all of those different areas, know that there is a PhotoPass photographer coming up where you can get a nice photo. Like there's just something about that walk. And I like the England Pavilion. That's also a place where I like to find like cool merchandise. As I talked about on Instagram Live once, I don't love the Canada Pavilion. So I feel like once you go over that bridge from England to France, you are really like beginning the World Showcase experience. And I always just find it so, so beautiful. There's also a piece of real estate on the outside of the bridge that faces into the water where they often will have like weddings and things like that. And I think that's just such a beautiful place to have a wedding. So I always, I'm trying to like articulate what I do. I drop a metaphorical coin into the wishing well of like wishing that couple happiness and wishing that happiness for myself as well. And on the other side of the bridge, there's the, makeshift boat and painting supplies and just, again, the thoughtfulness of putting that all together. Plus you can see the Skyliner, and there is that view of that Skyliner I actually had a print of, and I made it and I put it in my office at work because it was just such a serene picture. And Epcot, although the sun during the sunset or right before the sunset can be pretty harsh, the dusk lighting is just so, so beautiful. And so if you were there to be able to see that rainbow of different lights in the sky, it is just like chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. I don't even need a rat on my head to do that chef's kiss. It's just so beautiful. So that is one of my favorite things too. And now I think we're at number 10. Number 10 is walking into my hotel room and seeing welcome and then my name. I love that so much. If you listen to this podcast, you know that I love hotels, and I definitely love hotels, but seeing my name broadcast on the television after traveling is like literally the best thing ever. And having the music coming from the TV that matches the room that you're in, matches the hotel that you're in. As someone that likes immersive experiences, I'm just like, I am here. I always wear the same outfit while I'm traveling, which isn't great for pictures, but I guess I've gotten over that. So I also associate being able to see my name on the TV and the sound with me taking off my blue and white striped shirt and jumping in the shower to like de-stress and get on my Florida clothes to be able to walk around the hotel, to walk around one of the parks, to walk around Disney Springs, or even just to take a nap. Before I begin what is going to be an amazing solo vacation. And when I see my name and it says name and then it says family, even though I'm there solo, I actually feel like I am there. When I am there solo, I feel like I'm there with my family of me, my family of me taking care of myself, the past, present, future of me, the me that has earned money for this trip, the me that needs a break, the me that maybe didn't get those experiences when I was a little girl, although, we all had childhoods that were good and bad. Even when you had excellent experiences in your childhood, as an adult, you can always identify things you wanted more of. And that's what Disney can do. And to be able to identify things that you wouldn't be able to do in your normal life. Like when I see my name and it says family, especially when I am there solo, I feel like I am taking care of my family of me. And that's a real special experience. I'll often leave the TV on that whole first day because anytime I go back in the room, I want to be able to hear that music. So yeah, I will often leave the TV on so I can see that message and hear that music and recreate that feeling of coming home every single time I walk in the hotel room. And yeah, that's one of my favorite things. So anyway, this is my raspy, hopefully sensory experience of 10 of my favorite things, maybe 11. I lost count. I don't know. And I hope that you too have been able to think about your favorite things with this episode. What is your favorite thing to do solo? What is your favorite sensory experience? Not just like riding this particular ride, although whatever, I guess that's awesome if that is your really, really favorite thing. But like all those other kind of sensory experiences where you're like, yes, hashtag solo magic. What are those for you? Please share them with me on Instagram. Also on Facebook and Threads, although I probably won't see them quite as quickly. I want to hear what your experiences are with your solo magic. The rest of this month is going to be episodes on character experiences, character dining, character meet and greets, and what that's like solo. So please make sure, again, you subscribe, you rate, review, you share with others, all of that stuff. I'm going to be at Disney that first week of December, which I cannot wait for some Christmas stuff. And I'm going to create some content for you. So there will be Christmas content all through the month of December, and I can't wait for that. All right, solos, please wish me luck in getting better. Hopefully my voice will be back to normal by next week. Until then, have a great rest of the week, and I hope it is not too stressful for everyone involved. I hope it is not too stressful. Bye. Hey Solos, it's Samantha. I hope you enjoyed this episode as well as all the episodes of Disney Solo Magic. It has been so wonderful to create this podcast content for you and to help build this community of conversations about solo travel to Disney. And I really, really thank you for participating in the conversation. It would be even extra awesome if you could participate in the conversation by letting other people know that this conversation is happening. Please make sure you subscribe to the podcast, rate it, share it with others, and even providing a review helps the algorithm let other people who are interested in Disney content find out about this podcast. You can also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook, although Instagram is the best way to get in touch with me. My Instagram handle is Disney_solo_magic_podcast. And you can find links to all that social media content in the description of this podcast below. Thank you again for sharing the magic of solo travel to Disney, and I can't wait to keep creating content for you. Bye!